Hey guys, so to start this tutorial, I'm going to be working on, this is actually a wooden coaster. I got it at Hobby Lobby and I just painted it black. So this is what we're going to be making our mandala on, and these are the tools I'm using. These are just the standard tools that everybody gets. I got these two at Michael's, and then the other ones are the ones that you get on Amazon or you find in the store. They're the nail dotting tools. And then finally, we're going to be using a brush. This is the ADT Art Supplies brush. These are my favorite brushes. When it comes to brush strokes, you really want something, focus up here. You really want something thin. And I don't know why it won't focus. There we go. You really want something long and thin, okay? And soft. All right. Now for colors, I'm going to be doing a pink and blue color palette, and I'm just going to add some white in as I need. But these are the ones I'm using. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw some guide marks on here. So I know that this is around a 4-inch circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my compass. So I'm going to take my compass. On my ruler, I'm going to find 2 inches. So I'm going to go from the first mark to 2 inches. Okay. I'm going to go as far to the edge as I can, right where I see that the wood kind of stops. And I'm going to make a little dash. I'm going to do this a couple times just to make sure that I'm in the right spot. So I'm kind of hitting the center at every point, so I pretty much got it. Wonderful. So this is going to be my center. This doesn't have to be perfect at all. What we're going to do now is we're going to make some circular guidelines. So you can be as precise with this as you want to be. I'm just going to check to make sure my pencil goes kind of to the same mark everywhere. Let's see, let's test it. Okay, so I'm gonna go here and let's see. I'm pushing my compass down. And oops. And I'm seeing where the line is. Oh yeah, perfect. So this outer white line. Wonderful. Okay, so most people will draw the vertical lines, but I'm actually going to do the circular ones first. Now you can whip out a ruler and do them exactly, I don't know, however many, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch apart from each other, but we want this to be as easy as possible. So we are just going to kind of eyeball it. Sorry, I suck at using these things. And we'll see if we can go in one more. If you have a smaller compass, I suggest you use it. Mine is just for like heavy duty. It's big, it's kind of clunky, but use whatever you have. Okay. So that looks pretty good. I'm then gonna take a stencil. Now, these are one of the few things that I really do recommend you guys buying. You're gonna need a stencil. They come in, this is an 8-line one. They come in 12, and I think they go all the way up to 16, although I have seen some that are 24. And These are really helpful because using a ruler and what are they called, a protractor, you know, if you have them, use them, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, these things can take hours. So I really suggest that you just buy one of these. It'll save you so much time and so much of a headache. Then I'm just going to connect the dots. I want them all to go through this center point. And remember that they're guide marks. These are not, you know, we're using a white charcoal pencil so that if we make mistakes, we can just kind of go back and redo it. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we're done with that. So we're actually gonna make 6 colors out of this. I'm gonna take the first paint is folkart. This is a matte finish. We're just gonna give it a little swipe. For this color, folkart tends to be on the thicker side. So I always kind of water it down a bit with this. You can use water. So for the sake of this tutorial, we're just gonna use water. Get a spray bottle. If you have drops, that works too. Give it a little mix. Okay. Then we're gonna mix 2 colors. We're gonna take our baby pink. We're gonna do baby pink, and we're gonna do this bright pink rose. So like our in-between color. And then for the last one, we're just gonna go straight baby pink. So I'm looking, and I think I'm just gonna add a little bit more of this pink to darken it up a bit. These two look a little too close together. Actually, sometimes if I want the paints to come together a bit more, I'll just kind of dip in one, spin in the other, dip in one, spin in the other. So for example, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna run it in here. There we go, that should be good. Good, I think I'm gonna add a drop of white to baby pink, just to make it a bit brighter. Oh, there's a hair. All right, that looks pretty good. Now we're gonna do the blue side. I'm gonna add Calypso Blue is gonna be the first one that we're gonna add. Make sure to shake these things. They can be a bit clumpy. So I'm gonna leave that one as is. I'm gonna go in with Shoreline next, and I'm gonna mix these 2 colors together. So I'm gonna mix Shoreline and Calypso Blue. Mix it up. Okay, that looks good. And then I'll add Shoreline by itself over here. I'm not gonna add white to this. These colors already look like they have some pretty good contrast in them. So the blue looks good. A top tip, if you start to see bubbles, I just tap my paint, and then the bubbles usually go away. All right, so now we're ready to get started. I have my paints. I did add some white into the paint pan, and that's what we're gonna start out with. So I'm gonna take my purple tool. We're gonna start with white. A big trick to getting these to look really pretty and really lush is to use paint. So as we go through here, don't be afraid to put paint on that thing. Cute. Okay, so now I'm gonna take the big end of the blue stylus, and I think I'm gonna start with pink. So let's start with our darkest pink here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go in between each of the guide marks. So here, oh my gosh, I've got like cat hair in my paint. Don't get cat hair in your paint, it's not good. Okay, and with the flip side, with the smaller side of the blue tool, I'm gonna load it up with paint and I'm gonna go right at the base here. Then with the lightest shade, this we're not gonna add so much paint, just like a little quick dip. We're gonna go right above that first little dot. We're looking at the top of the bigger pink circles. We want these dots to stop at the top. Again, close enough to where they don't touch. We want some black space in between. Not too much black space, but. Okay, so now we're gonna take the smallest of the rods. This one's see-through, the smallest of the see-through. I think about 3 come in this. But we're gonna take the smallest one. We're gonna go to white, load it up, and I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. So I'm gonna start here. So we're gonna add a big dot, put a lot of paint on it. Then with the small side of the pink tool, we're gonna pull it down. Making this pretty little teardrop shape. Now I'm gonna skip every one. So we should, at the end of this, have 4 teardrop shapes. Make sure you're at the same guide mark. Load up that paint, small end, pull and drag. My wood is very textured. If you don't want textured wood, you can always sand it down, or you can put some like wood conditioner on it. I am just a bit lazy, so I like my things to be as simple and as quick as possible. right, so now we're going to start with the lightest blue. We're going to use the, so we're going to use the big end of the pink stylus. We're going to tap on the top. We're going to make this dot a bit bigger. So tap above. Then with the smaller side, we're going to walk the dots, just lining this teardrop shape. Something I tend to do a lot is you can count how many dots you're putting on there. Again, I don't have the patience for that. But as a rule, I always go until I'm completely out of paint on the stylus. Completely. I think it just has a really good, kind of like that fade to black theme. I just think it looks really pretty. Okay, so now the fun part begins. Bust out your brush. Let's dip it in some water. Tap it off. All right, we're gonna start some brush strokes. Now, brush strokes can be very scary. Don't let them scare you. You are your own person. Take your very thin brush. When we load up the brush, we kind of want it to still maintain the shape of the brush. So we don't want to, for example, we don't want to glob it up like this, right? We just want to dip it in on all sides so that it's kind of thin all the way around. We're just going to follow the shape that we already made. So we're going to start at the top here. You're going to just push down and then let the brush do the rest of the work. When you start getting towards the bottom, lift your hand up and off. Just like that. Don't overcomplicate it. So here, push down and pull up. If you see some big mistakes, I just go back and fix them. Don't stress. And we are on the second darkest blue, by the way. What I did notice that I want these to be closer to the line. So I'm going to get closer. I'm going to push. It's a push and pulling technique. So get really close to that line, push it down, and just make that teardrop shape. And pull up. Brush strokes can be really intimidating when you're first starting them, but practice them, be bold, get out there. If they don't look like mine, or if they look better than mine, great job. Rule of thumb, go slow, be thoughtful, be precise, use a thin brush. When I first started brush strokes, I was using like thicker brushes and I couldn't understand why my lines were not so pretty. So find brushes that work for you and play around with your brushes. You really need to know what sizes give you the best shape, you know, how much pressure to put on them and stuff like that. So beautiful. We're doing another brush stroke. And we're just going to kind of keep climbing until we run out of space. So now to the darkest blue, I have a piece of gunk in my blue. Okay. Tap it there. Something's going on here. My paint seems to be kind of clumpy. Okay. There we go. So we're gonna go right above it at the same vertical guide mark. So we're gonna go right above it, push, and then we're gonna make that pretty teardrop shape. Right at that line, push. I think my brush is watery. There we go. So above and push. We don't mind if, as we go down, they blend into each other. We just don't want, at the beginning, we want them to have their own spot. So push and glide. Looking pretty cool, huh? Okay, cool. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm gonna go to the deepest pink, and this is gonna be our last one on the vertical side. So right up here, push and bring it down. If your hand shakes, so does mine. Okay, cool. Rinse off your brush. Now we're gonna get lighter. So we're gonna go to the second lightest color. And just where, so just where this circle starts, I'll go on this side. So just where the circle starts is where we're gonna start this brush stroke. So right on the edge there, we're gonna push and pull it in. So here we're kind of starting to make like a lotus shape. So right on the edge there, right where the circle stops, push and pull. Sorry guys, I know my camera keeps coming out of focus. Okay, cool. All right, and then the last color we're gonna do is white. So rinse off your brush, take your white. We want it to stay within the vertical guide mark. So we're gonna make this a thinner one and we're gonna go down. So we're gonna go here. So same thing, we're gonna push and we're just gonna kind of follow that line. Same guide mark. Push, get as close to them as possible without touching. Bring it down. If I have more space, I'm gonna put more paint. But for the most part, they're all pretty similar. Okay, last one. Okay, so I see these blank spots and I'm gonna add some glorious gold. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like this, so I'm actually gonna put them in these little spaces here. So I'm gonna do 3. Yeah, I think I'll. 1, 2, 3. Okay, very subtle, but I think I will use it. So I'm gonna use it on this edge here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the big side of the blue tool. I'm gonna dip it in the gold. I'm gonna tap, and I want you to look for the center of these 2 lines. So we're just gonna tap and pull. It's gonna make that really pretty teardrop shape. We're gonna do one on either side. I'm gonna have to water down this paint. This paint is really thick for some reason. And then we're just gonna kind of round, pull. Round and pull. Yeah, I think that looks good. So big glob, pull down. That's looking so cute. Wonderful. So the last thing I'm looking at is I'm looking at this space here. I want to keep it as simple as possible, and so I'm thinking about just adding a big dot. Let's do gold. I don't know what this will look like in my head, but yeah. So I'm going to do a big dot. I want to take up most of this space. Oh, my cat. And then I'm going to add more to this one here. There we go. And now I'm just going to add simple little dots around it. All right, so that is our completed painting. I hope you guys like it. Once it dries, I will just take a wet washcloth, wipe it off, and then I might go in with some, at the end when it's dry, I might go in with some metallics on the white, but I think it looks really cute. Fun little easy brushstroke tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon.